So I would have to say that overall it has been a phenomenal game for Epping. Not only did they, with the bat, put on a score that was at least 10, maybe 15 or 20 runs higher than what you would reasonably expect in a one-day game in Margaret Oval. To get over the 150 mark and to actually be approaching the 160 mark, to actually nearly be scoring at 4 runs per over at Margaret Oval was a phenomenal performance, especially when you think that they were not anywhere near that sort of level right up until the drinks break, and it was all the post-drinks break scoring which got them to such a high score. And so allowing them to get to 156, and then they bowled. They didn't actually bowl with any magic. I actually think that pretty much the two teams bowled the same, but because of the required run rate pressure, it meant that Diamond Creek were always on a hiding. So the fact of the matter is that throughout the course of that long, there was 2 long partnerships for Diamond Creek. There was the opening partnership, and then there was the partnership for the 3rd wicket. And they both looked very professional. They saw through a lot of dot balls. They played good shots. They were building up, good confidence. They were running reasonably aggressively. So from those 2 partnerships, you would have thought that Diamond Creek were laying the groundwork for a superb run chase come towards the end of the innings. But the problem was through, it came about at the 28th over, where they had been scoring at about 3 runs per over, which is behind the required run rate, but it's still quite good. But then as soon as the wickets fell, as soon as the first couple of wickets fell where that partnership was broken and the 2 batsmen who had been in for the 3rd wicket partnership were gone, well, the same kind of clarity, professional judgment, aptitude, concentration wasn't there for the batsmen who came in afterwards. And so it became quite an easy thing over the course of about half an hour, where all Epping needed to do was bowl it reasonably well, get the ball in the right areas, basically in the right places most of the time, and then they would concede 1 run here, 2 runs there, lots of dot balls, and eventually the Diamond Creek batsmen would lose their patience worrying about the huge required run rate that they are faced with, and eventually they would play a dumb shot and get themselves out. And that happened over the course of that half an hour period. In the 28th over, they lost their 3rd wicket. Then in the 29th over, they lost another wicket. Then in the 30th over, they lost another wicket. Then in the 31st, they lost another wicket. And in the 32nd, they lost another one. So 5 wickets in 5 overs took Diamond Creek from being in a situation where they were setting themselves up for a substantial attempt at chasing this down, to having basically no chance of winning this game anymore. Once you're 7 for 87, because there were 2 wickets down when that 3rd wicket partnership happened, which is axiomatic. You can only have a 3rd wicket partnership when you're 2 wickets down. So then losing 5 wickets means that you're 7 wickets down, and you still need just about to double your score in order to win the game. So that was the end of the game. The game was over at the 32nd over, and then we had to play out the last half an hour or so after that in order to see through to the end of Diamond Creek's innings, those last 3 wickets. And the substantial element of Diamond Creek's innings was gone by then. And the key was obviously the fact that it was the run rate situation, that when you have batsmen who are in, who can back themselves to hit boundaries, they can overcome the irrational, instinctive idea of worrying when the required run rate is too high and thinking that you have to play some sort of brash shot to get back into the game. Clearly that didn't happen for the two batsmen who were in for the third wicket partnership, because they backed themselves to be able to see through this and be able to come up with some good shots later on. But that didn't happen for the new batsmen in the middle order for Diamond Creek. They were worried, they were overcome with the pressure, and then they played the dumb shot which threw their wickets away. And that happened over after over after over. And so it goes to show that it's still the case that scoreboard pressure wins the day. That Diamond Creek were not able to put in the kind of monumental effort that would be needed to score, to chase down such a large score of nearly 4 runs per over. So in the end, they've come up substantially short, losing by 40 runs in a one-day game. Alright, so what else can be said? The other aspect, obviously, the other aspect is the one I mentioned before, which was the fact that Epping were able to reach a score of 156 from 40 overs after being 66 at the drinks break, so scoring 90 runs of 20 overs, nearly 5 runs per over, to take the score from being a 120, 130 score to being 150, nearly 160. So let's just have a look at what happened in the second half. And really, it wasn't anything overwhelmingly phenomenal that Epping were able to do to actually reach this sort of target. There were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 boundaries. Am I counting that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 boundaries of 20 overs, so 1 every 3 overs, which is quite higher than on average on Mangrook Oval. But alongside that, you have other runs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 24, 25, 26, 27, 27 singles in 20 overs. So at least once every over, someone was scoring a single. And then there were the twos. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 twos. So once every over you're scoring 1, once every second over you're scoring 2, and then once every 3 overs you're scoring a boundary. And add a few sundries here and there, and you get a picture of how they were able to score at nearly 5 runs and over. And the entire context in which the process that Epping were able to score these runs was very different to what you normally see at Mangrook Oval, where dot balls are predominant, where just getting ones is actually quite a challenge because of the way that a field is structured, because of the way the pitch behaves, because of the way the ground is shaped. It's not always immediately obvious how you're going to score big runs, like boundaries and twos. But because of the way that the ground's structured, because there are not only wide boundaries square of the wicket, but you can score twos if you hit it softly enough into the gaps, and you should be able to hit one on your shot and then a second one on the the return throw, it starts to add up that you should be able to put up an aggressive enough run chase that you can actually think about a batting display, that you should be able to think about going at 3, 4 and 5 runs per over. I think that the Epping batsmen showed remarkable awareness in the game to be able to organise their batting aggression in the way that they did. They were able to clearly get an awareness, an appreciation for what type of situation they were in and what they could achieve and how they were going to achieve it. It was quite a sight to see them being able to put all that together. And the other thing to point out is obviously 40 over games are still quite a long period of time, and having overs in hand, having wickets in hand, and being in a position where in the final 10 overs, final 5 overs, where you still are in a position where you can afford to be aggressive, means that you can really get a big payoff. And because by the time it's 30 overs, by the time it's 35 overs, there's still quite a long way to go left in the innings. And yet, so much has already been done. And if you're in a position to keep going, you can actually take advantage of the situation with the fielding team and score far more runs than could be reasonably expected of you over the course of the first 30 to 35 overs of the game. So, take a look at this. The 30th over, Epping scored 4. Then the 31st was 11. 32nd was 14. 33rd was 2. 34th was 5. 35th was 3. 36th was 7. 37 was 3. 38th was 9. 39th was 4. And then the 40th over involved 5 runs. So that's quite substantial. That is quite a comprehensive, like a way to advance your scoring, to go from scoring 3 and then 3.5 to 4 runs per over the course of those final 20 overs. It shows that it's always necessary in one-day games not only to have wickets in hand, but to be in a position where you have batsmen who are capable of scoring, who know what they need to do, who are aware of the situation, who are then capable of relaying orders and actually putting them into practice. And so, not burning everything too early, not being worried about what's happening in the first 20 overs, and actually setting yourself up for a big partnership, for aggressive run scoring in the final 20, in the final 10, in the final 5, is to such a great advantage for the team that's setting a target. You just cannot afford to get ahead of yourself and to play too many shots in the 20th something over, in the 25th something over, in the 30th something over, and keep it together till the 35th over, 36th over, and the later overs, when you can really take advantage of the situation, because the ball's old, the fielders are tired, they're ready to pack things up. So the fact that you're able to push things further is to such an important tactical position in one-day games. But unfortunately, there's no more one-day games in the season. That is the last one-day game. The only two games left for Diamond Creek in the B grade are 2-day games. So we'll just have to see what they can do over the course of those games. Alright, so I've said all that I needed to say about this game. We will be looking at the results as they come in tonight to give a sense of what type of situation the B grade are in, with the last 2 rounds to be played over the course of February and then early March, and then we'll get a sense of whether or not it's lost. I am very it's very likely that now Diamond Creek are not going to be able to make it into the finals. It's almost impossible for them to do it. So now they've got to figure out what they're going to be doing for the rest of the season, the final 2 games. Alright, let's wrap this up. You have been watching round 11 of the B grade here in Marngrook Oval in Diamond Creek. Today is the 3rd of February and you have just watched Diamond Creek versus Epping. This is Channel 8, the local sports network, in association with our partners Bizz 99.9 FM Substitute Radio. I am your host, Chukka Wilson. Thank you very much for watching this broadcast. There are 2 more games to go left in the season before the semi-finals in early to mid-March, and then we'll see who is in the semi-finals at that point. Until then, have a good week, goodbye, and keep an eye on what's happening around the world of cricket. Now, we've got to get home quickly because the International 2020 is on tonight, and we've got to get home because right now it's nearly 6:45, so I've got to rush off. We've got to watch the game, Australia versus England, I believe. So it's been an important game, it's been a good game, but it's time to say goodbye. So goodbye from Marngrook Oval, goodbye from Channel 8. See you next week. Oh, before we leave, Channel 8 will be broadcasting the 2020 match on Tuesday night in Bundoora, between Bundoora United and Diamond Creek. So if you happen to be in the area, come along and watch the game. It's the 2020 semi-final, playing for a position in the grand final. So come to that, and you might see Channel 8 in action. But until then, goodbye from us. Goodbye.
I spent so long just wondering. For years I was adrift, directionless and wayward, lost like a swallow on a cliff. But slowly I found purpose and my life became more clear. I found my destination, yeah, but now where do I go from here? 'Cause I'm already there, I'm already everywhere. I'm already there, I'm already everywhere. I've got a wife, 2 kids, and a picket fence. Everything was hazy, now it's making sense. Alright, I made it, so now what? I paid my dues in factories, I worked until I bled. The suffering made me stronger, so I pushed to get ahead. And now I'm perched above the factory floor, looking down at my friends below. In my comfy car I drive away, but there is nowhere left to go. 'Cause I'm already there, I'm already everywhere. I'm already there, I'm already everywhere. I've got a wife, 2 kids, and a picket fence. Everything was hazy, now it's making sense. Alright, I made it, so now what? Told me when the race is done. The finish line's behind you, and you have lost or you have won. The crowd goes home and you're still standing on that empty track. The lights are out, the crowd is gone, but there's no going back. 'Cause you're already there, you're already everywhere. You're already there.